Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell Addison Mitchell McConnell Senators push for new rules now that Trump impeachment battle is over. Trump holds White House celebration for impeachment acquittal. The Hill's 1230 report, Trump, Pelosi take the gloves off, DNC wants Iowa recanvass more. R. Key, scored a major victory for President Trump and his own re-election bid this week when the Senate rejected 2 articles of impeachment after a trial that lasted only 2 weeks.
McConnell's deft handling of both the Senate rules and GOP moderates quickly freed Trump from the cloud of impeachment, despite a steady stream of new evidence and allegations about the extent of the president's involvement in an effort to initiate a politically motivated investigation into former Vice President Joe Biden.
From the start, McConnell's goal was to keep the impeachment trial as short as possible and have a final up or down vote to acquit the president, instead of a procedural vote early on to dismiss the articles, an approach favored by some Republicans.
Trump appeared ecstatic with McConnell's performance during a Thursday celebration in the East Room of the White House.
Mitch McConnell, I want to tell you, you did a fantastic job. Trump said, singling out the GOP leader for praise to loud, standing applause from other Republicans in the room.
Trump joked about McConnell's reputation for keeping his public statements short and to the point, then marveled at his long tenure in power.
The president touted McConnell as a great guy, and then joked, he's a tough guy to read, as the Kentucky Republican laughed in the first row of the audience.
That's what makes him good, Trump added. He understood right from the start this was crooked politics.
In the end, Senator Mitt Romney Utah was the only Republican who voted to convict Trump, on the first article of impeachment alleging abuse of power. McConnell later admitted he didn't see that coming, telling reporters he was surprised and disappointed.
But that vote did not sour Trump's victory lap on Thursday, as many Republicans waved off Romney's decision, accusing him of being motivated by a personal dislike of the president.
McConnell's ability to keep the trial on track, combined with Trump's lavish praise after winning acquittal, gives him a big boost heading into his re-election campaign for a 7th Senate term.
I think Donald Trump is more popular in Kentucky today than he was when he got elected in the first place, and he was pretty damn popular then. And I think McConnell is rightly viewed as the Prime Minister of his administration, said Scott Jennings, a longtime McConnell political advisor.
McConnell won Kentucky with a little more than 62% of the vote in 2016. A recent Morning Consult poll of state voters showed Trump had a net approval rating of 14% in Kentucky last month.
Jennings said McConnell helped Trump beat former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton in 2016 by keeping the seat of late conservative Justice Antonin Scalia vacant for months, making the presidential election in part a referendum on the Supreme Court.
He's kept Trump in the White House through this impeachment, and then he has delivered on all the president's policy promises, Jennings said. There are no two politicians working better together than Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump, and if you happen to represent a state like Kentucky, that's a hell of a thing.
At Thursday's White House event, Trump also highlighted McConnell's role in getting 191 of his judicial picks confirmed by the Senate.
McConnell played up his collaboration with Trump at the start of the trial, telling Fox News host Sean Hannity in a December interview that he would be in total coordination with the White House on strategy.
When Senate Rules Committee Chairman Roy Blunt, RMO, one of McConnell's deputies, said early last month the trial could finish by the State of the Union address, it seemed improbable. But the trial concluded less than 24 hours after Trump's Tuesday night speech.
One senior Republican predicted it would go a lot longer, while another, Senator Richard Burr (RNC), said the trial could last 6 to 8 weeks.
Former President Clinton's impeachment trial in 1999 lasted 5 weeks.
In the end, McConnell was able to defeat the House articles of impeachment just 2 weeks after the House managers presented their first day of opening arguments.
Blunt, who is the Senate Republican Policy Committee chairman, hailed it in an interview as a defining moment of McConnell's leadership.
McConnell's stroke of genius, Blunt said, was to seize upon the organizing resolution that the Senate passed 100-0 before President Clinton's impeachment trial to unify the GOP conference before the trial even started.
Although Democrats argued that the circumstances of Clinton's trial, which was preceded by an in-depth investigation by independent counsel Ken Starr, differed significantly from Trump's, which was preceded by a relatively short House investigation, McConnell convinced his GOP colleagues to adopt a nearly identical organizing resolution.
Republicans who were alarmed by Trump's conduct were able to fend off persistent questioning from the media by asserting they were strictly sticking to precedent.
Certainly, holding our members together to move forward on a set of rules we could all agree with was a significant moment. I think it set the stage for what was going to happen after that, Blunt said.
Agreeing to an organizing resolution that postponed a vote on whether to subpoena additional witnesses and documents until after 35 hours of opening arguments and 16 hours of senators asking questions made it much more difficult for wavering GOP moderates to later break off from the rest of the conference.
McConnell was able to easily convince fellow Republicans they didn't need to hear from more witnesses, Blunt noted.
After Republican senators sat for more than 50 hours at their desks, not allowed to look at their cell phones or chat above a whisper with neighbors, they were itchy to wrap up the trial.
Senator Lamar Alexander R. Tennessee, a key swing vote on whether to subpoena new witnesses, said the House prosecutors had already presented a mountain of evidence.
Another Republican senator, who requested anonymity to comment on McConnell's tactics, said the GOP leader set the trial's course by corralling his colleagues early.
I think it was masterful from the beginning because he got everybody into the same funnel, and that's hard to do in our conference. He said, we're going to move forward with the Clinton-type organizing resolution and then we're going to move on to the debate on witnesses. That had everybody moving in the same direction, the senator said.
Even Democrats like Senator Chris Coons Del, expressed amazement that McConnell was able to keep his colleagues marching in lockstep.
McConnell showed some flexibility by responding quickly to colleagues such as Senator Susan Collins' Susan Margaret Collins' timeline. Trump and Romney's rocky relationship. Senators push for new rules now that Trump impeachment battle is over. Trump holds White House celebration for impeachment acquittal. More R. Maine and Senator Rob Portman. Rob Jones Portman. Senate acquits Trump, ending impeachment saga. End of impeachment trial to leave deep scars in Senate. GOP senators label Trump's behavior shameful but not impeachable. More R. Ohio, who raised concerns over the initial draft of the organizing resolution giving the House impeachment managers only 2 days to present 24 hours worth of arguments, which would have led to late-night sessions.
After McConnell expanded the time frame for opening arguments from 2 to 3 days, moderate Republicans who had been under heavy political pressure were able to point to a concession.
Democrats were left grumbling that it was a largely meaningless gesture that only distracted from the more important issue of subpoenaing additional witnesses and documents.
Another effective tactical decision McConnell made was to play up partisanship at the start of the trial.
He declared at a December press conference, "I'm not impartial about this at all," and then rebuffed Senate Democratic leader Charles Schumer. Chuck Ellis Schumer, one of Utah's largest newspapers, applauds Romney for voting to convict Trump. What the impeachment vote looked like from inside the chamber. Pelosi, Schumer praised Romney after impeachment vote. More SNY attempts to negotiate the rules of the trial before Congress left town for the holidays.
The approach prompted Democrats to respond in kind, which had the effect of further dividing senators along partisan lines.
When Senator Lisa Ann Murkowski Trump holds White House celebration for impeachment acquittal. What the impeachment vote looked like from inside the chamber. Romney shocks GOP with vote to convict more. Alaska announced she would not vote for a crucial motion to subpoena additional witnesses and documents. She said it had become clear that some of my colleagues intend to further politicize this process.
When Murkowski later voted to acquit Trump, she said, the Senate should be ashamed by the rank partisanship that has been on display.
By taking steps to ensure the trial would be a partisan fight, McConnell was able to unify almost his entire conference behind an us versus them mentality.
Senator Sherrod Campbell Brown end of impeachment trial to leave deep scars in Senate. Trump bashes Medicare for All in swipe at Sanders. Senate faces hours of late-night votes without agreement on ending impeachment trial. Moore Ohio asserted at the end of the trial the majority leader of the Senate wanted it to be partisan.
He wanted it to look like this, he wanted it to be as quickly as possible so that the entire impeachment process would be dismissed as partisan, Brown said.
The plan almost worked perfectly, until Romney surprised his colleagues by accusing the president shortly before the final vote of an appalling abuse of public trust and a flagrant assault on our electoral rights.
Romney then became the first senator in history to vote for removing a president from his own party, giving Democrats grounds to argue that the impeachment effort was bipartisan, if only by a thread.